If you think that your daily meals are harmless, but you don't have any idea what they do after entering your body, some of them could be quietly damaging your kidneys. These organs filter waste and keep your system in check, yet they're rarely given the attention they deserve. The real danger is these food side effects for your kidneys are hiding in your routine. Foods you snack on, drinks you reach for, and ingredients you trust might be quietly stacking up pressure on your kidneys without warning. This time, we come with the top 6 foods that are the silent killers of your kidneys. So without wasting a single second, let's dig into the everyday foods that could be doing more harm than good. Some of these might already be sitting on your plate. Let's start with number 6, rice. It's easy to trust rice. After all, it's been on dinner tables since forever, from sushi rolls to biryani bowls. But behind those minerals, this lovely food has warm, familiar fluff that hides a problem no one expects. Rice is notorious for soaking up arsenic like a sponge, especially the more dangerous inorganic kind, which quietly clings to every grain. In fact, per kilogram, rice can carry anywhere between 0.1 to 0.4 milligrams of inorganic arsenic, way more than what shows up in wheat, barley, or similar grains, where those levels are often barely traceable. What makes it worse? Unlike other crops, rice is often grown in water-flooded fields, which makes it uniquely good at pulling in heavy metals from contaminated soil and irrigation. Arsenic isn't just a minor irritant, it's a direct threat to kidney tissue, known for triggering serious issues like acute renal failure or long-term kidney damage that doesn't go away. The damage builds slowly, creeping in over time, especially if rice is eaten daily without variation or proper rinsing and cooking methods. And it doesn't stop at arsenic. Rice has also been shown to absorb more cadmium and other sneaky heavy metals compared to most grains. While a one-time plate won't knock your health sideways, long-term exposure adds up. Unlike fruits or vegetables, rice is often consumed in large volumes and multiple times a day, particularly in cultures where it forms the base of nearly every meal. That's where the real problem lies. Repetition. Other staples like wheat and barley barely show any detectable traces of inorganic arsenic, and even their total arsenic content stays between 0.03 and 0.08 milligrams per kilogram, which is relatively harmless in the big picture. But rice keeps pulling in toxins like it's its full-time job, and the human body isn't built to flush out all of that efficiently, especially when exposure is constant. For people with even the slightest kidney sensitivity, this accumulation can be the silent start of a health issue that only becomes obvious when it's too late. And no, washing or boiling doesn't completely solve it. Those methods might reduce some arsenic levels, but won't eliminate the core issue embedded in the grain itself. The unfortunate irony, rice is considered safe, even wholesome, yet beneath that simple label is a long-term toxic load that adds pressure to the organs responsible for filtering it all out. What's considered a neutral grain is actually a quiet disruptor, especially if you're counting on it daily. Even switching to alternatives occasionally can reduce the risk substantially. Variety isn't just about taste, it's about survival. Number 5. Mayonnaise. It may look harmless sitting next to your sandwich or burger, but that glossy dollop of mayonnaise packs more trouble than you'd think. It's not just the fat content. Though regular mayonnaise is drenched in saturated fats, it's the entire cocktail of hidden overloads. Even the so-called low-fat or fat-free versions aren't innocent. They often sneak in excessive calories, sodium, and sugar to make up for the flavor loss. That combo becomes a heavy load for the body's filtration system, forcing your kidneys to process more waste than they were ever designed to handle. The issue isn't just occasional use, it's the frequent daily slathering that turns this creamy topping into a silent stressor. Mayo is the master of disguise. It tastes mild, feels smooth, and gives bland food a kick. But behind that comfort is a relentless push of ingredients that spike blood pressure, raise fluid retention, and make your system work overtime. Sodium in particular is a quiet aggressor. It hides in sauces, spreads, and condiments like mayo and gradually nudges your internal balance out of whack, leading to long-term strain on critical filtration pathways. And the sugar, it's often added in surprising amounts to balance the tangy flavor, but that just adds fuel to the fire, especially when you're already consuming sugar from 100 other hidden places. 1 tablespoon doesn't scream danger, but it's never just one, is it? Sandwiches, burgers, pasta salads, and dipping sauces all pile it on. That builds up fast, and your body keeps score. And it's not just mayo alone. Similar heavily processed foods like canned soups, frozen ready-to-eat meals, tomato-based condiments, and even some concentrated juices carry that same high load of salt and sweeteners. Each one chips away at your body's ability to regulate fluids and waste, quietly wearing down your internal balance. It's easy to overlook mayo in a world full of deep-fried snacks and sugary sodas, but that's exactly why it slips under the radar. It doesn't look extreme. It doesn't scream unhealthy, but that's what makes it more dangerous. It hides behind taste and familiarity. Consuming it regularly turns every snack into a trigger for internal wear and tear. And when all that salt and sugar starts stacking up, your body's natural filtration doesn't get a break. Over time, that stress compounds, turning a simple sandwich topping into a long-term red flag. The smarter move? Rotate it out, ease up the frequency, or swap it with simpler alternatives that don't come loaded with additives. The fewer surprises your body has to handle from something so basic, the better off your system will be. And now it's time for number 4, butter. Butter may come across as the golden icon of homemade cooking, melted into mashed potatoes, smeared across toast, or sizzling in a pan before your eggs hit the heat. But underneath that rich, creamy texture is a heavy punch of saturated fat and cholesterol, both of which aren't doing your body any favors. These ingredients don't just play with your waistline, they quietly build pressure in your arteries, helping form plaque that slowly narrows blood flow and puts strain on the very vessels that keep your body's internal processes in motion. Over time, this narrowing impacts circulation efficiency, especially in places where clean blood matters the most. That's where things start to unravel. And while plain butter is already pushing limits, the salted version takes things up a notch. Just 100 grams of salted butter carries a massive 643 milligrams of sodium, more than enough to throw off your internal balance if used carelessly. It might not seem like much when you're scraping a little on your toast, but those small servings add up quickly when butter is used in baking, sauces, fried dishes, or hidden in processed meals. Salt has a quiet way of hiking up blood pressure, which turns into a long-term concern when it becomes routine. As pressure rises, your body's delicate systems start compensating, often at a cost. That creeping stress adds up day after day, especially when paired with other sodium-loaded ingredients found in your regular diet. It's not just a single bite, it's the accumulation. What looks like a harmless habit becomes a slow burn, building quietly in the background. And butter, being such a staple, often gets a free pass because it feels like tradition. But tradition isn't always health-friendly. When something so common is also so concentrated in harmful elements, even moderation needs a closer look. The smartest choice isn't cutting flavor out of your life, it's cutting back on the things that disguise themselves as essentials when they're actually sneaky contributors to long-term health issues. Butter won't scream danger. It won't taste like a threat. But its effects over time are more than enough reason to rethink how much is sitting on your plate. Let's talk about number 3, spinach. It's the go-to green for health lovers, blended into smoothies, piled onto plates, and praised in every diet blog under the sun, but spinach carries a darker side that rarely makes headlines. What most people don't realize is that spinach is absolutely packed with oxalates, and these compounds aren't just minor irritants, they're a serious threat when it comes to kidney health. In just 100 grams, spinach can hold up to 1,260 milligrams of oxalate, making it one of the highest among leafy greens. That's not a casual number. When consumed in large amounts, even during a single meal, oxalates can flood the system, overwhelming the kidneys with crystalline compounds they weren't built to process so quickly. One case even highlighted how dangerously fast this can escalate. After eating a meal rich in sorrel, which shares spinach's high oxalate profile, a person experienced total kidney failure within hours. That's not some distant anomaly, it's a real and chilling reminder of how quickly oxalate buildup can turn deadly. And this isn't just a one-off risk tied to excess. Even moderate daily intake adds up silently, causing oxalates to accumulate in tissues and organs over time. The result? Kidney stones, bladder complications, and in more serious cases, oxalate nephropathy, a damaging condition where kidney function deteriorates from the inside. But the danger doesn't end there. Oxalate overload has been linked to issues beyond the kidneys, including joint discomfort, nervous system disruption, and even brain fog in some individuals. Conditions like interstitial cystitis have also been traced back to chronic oxalate buildup, creating inflammation and pain that doesn't go away easily. And spinach isn't the only one in this camp. Foods like cassava, chard, and rhubarb are equally loaded, all adding to the body's burden without many people realizing it. What makes spinach particularly deceptive is its reputation. Because it's low in calories and rich in iron and vitamins, it's seen as a hero food, when in reality its oxalate content makes it something that needs to be handled with care, especially for anyone already prone to kidney strain. The smarter path isn't to fear greens, but to be more selective. Knowing what hides behind the label of healthy is what truly protects you. In spinach's case, moderation isn't just a suggestion, it's the line between nutrition and long-term kidney damage. Number 2. Soda. Pop the tab, take a sip, and it feels like nothing major, but that fizzy sweetness comes with a bitter cost. Soda, whether it's regular or diet, quietly launches a full-blown attack on the kidneys, and it starts the second that sugar hits your bloodstream. Unlike solid sugar, which at least takes time to digest, the liquid form in soda hits fast and hard, causing your blood sugar to spike almost instantly. When this happens repeatedly, your kidneys are forced to handle more glucose than they're designed to filter, which over time wears down the delicate nephrons, the microscopic filters that keep your blood clean and balanced. While a healthy body may bounce back from the occasional overload, long-term habits paint a different picture. For individuals already dealing with high blood sugar, soda becomes an accelerant, driving kidney stress into dangerous territory. But here's the twist. Many people ditch sugary sodas in favor of diet versions, thinking they've found a guilt-free fix. Not quite. Diet sodas may lack real sugar, but they come packed with artificial sweeteners and additives that don't sit well with your kidneys either. In fact, studies have linked daily consumption of diet soda to a 67% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes, which creates the very same pressure that damages renal function in the first place. It's a vicious cycle. Drink soda to avoid sugar, but end up triggering metabolic problems that circle right back to harm the kidneys. They're not neutral bystanders. Many of them are synthetic compounds that can cause inflammation and disrupt the kidney's natural filtration rhythm over time. So, whether it's sugar-laced or sugar-free, soda carries more baggage than meets the eye. The drink may come in bright cans and colorful branding, but behind that is a product that chips away at one of the most essential systems in your body. And the worst part? It becomes a habit before people even realize it. That daily sip with lunch, the late-night craving, the casual refill, it all adds up. Your kidneys aren't built for constant cleanup duty from ingredients designed more for shelf life than health. So the next time a soda calls your name, it's worth asking, is the taste worth the damage? Number 1. Red meat. For a lot of people, a sizzling steak or a juicy burger feels like the centerpiece of a good meal, but beneath that satisfying bite, red meat carries a hidden weight that puts serious pressure on your kidneys. Unlike leaner proteins or plant-based sources, red meat is dense in compounds like creatine and purines, which break down into uric acid inside the body. That might not sound like a big deal at first, but when uric acid levels rise too high, your kidneys are left scrambling to flush it out. Over time, this puts major strain on the filtration system, raising the risk of kidney stones and other complications tied to acid buildup. And it doesn't stop there. Red meat is also high in saturated fat and cholesterol, both of which contribute to inflammation and clogged blood vessels, not just in the heart, but also in the tiny arteries that feed directly into the kidneys. When these vessels get stiff or narrow, blood flow slows down, starving the kidneys of the oxygen and nutrients they need to function properly. That's when damage starts creeping in quietly but persistently. High consumption of red meat has also been linked in studies to an increased risk of developing chronic kidney disease, especially in diets that lack balance from fruits, vegetables, and other protective foods. The body can only handle so much protein at once, and red meat tends to deliver it in a dense, hard-hitting dose. This forces the kidneys to process more nitrogen waste than they would from other foods, and that constant overdrive takes its toll, especially if your water intake is low or you're already dealing with other health conditions. While it's tempting to load up on meat for its iron or muscle-building benefits, too much comes at a cost. What makes it worse is how red meat is often prepared. Grilled, fried, or heavily seasoned, which adds even more sodium and compounds like heterocyclic amines that can contribute to long-term cellular damage. All this adds up to a food that may look like power on a plate, but acts like a slow drain on your system. The body needs protein, sure, but it doesn't need it wrapped in layers of fat, uric acid, and hidden kidney strain. Sometimes the strongest choice is knowing when to cut back. That wraps it up for today's video. It's wild how everyday foods can quietly chip away at your health, especially when it comes to your kidneys, which rarely get the credit they deserve. They're not flashy, but they're constantly working behind the scenes to keep your system in balance. The good news? A few smart changes in what you eat can take a huge load off them. Whether it's cutting back on high-sodium sauces, skipping the sugary drinks, or rethinking that extra helping of red meat. Every small step matters. You don't need a complete overhaul overnight, just awareness, consistency, and a little care for the organs that care for you non-stop. If any of this hit close to home or made you rethink what's in your fridge, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs a heads up, and don't forget to subscribe for more no-nonsense health tips. While this info is pulled from a bunch of well-researched health sources, it's meant to guide, not diagnose. If something feels off or you've been dealing with symptoms that don't sit right, it's always best to check in with a doctor who knows your history. Take care of yourself. Stay informed and keep tuning in. Your kidneys and your future self will thank you.